Hello everyone, good afternoon, and thank you so much for taking out your precious time on a Saturday afternoon and joining with us. From your on your Saturday. So I'll start with the webinar. Just give me a. So today's webinar is about succession planning. Now, succession planning has been a topic since so many years in today's India's families and many of us. So we'll start with the product showcase, but before that, I'll set some rules. So as we all know that we have limited time and I want to share as much as information with you all as possible. So first we have kept everyone on mute, all the attendees on mute. You can raise your questions through the chat box. Our team is there in the handling the chat, so they will be looking after the question answers. And in the end of the presentation, once we are done with the Growth Plus showcase and the product showcase of succession planning, which is today's product, post that we'll open up the this thing Q&A. You can raise your hand one by one, and then we'll answer your questions accordingly. So let me just share my screen. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. Yes. So I can see that many participants who have joined today, they are new to IFA Now. So before starting with IFA Now Growth Plus, I'll just give you a quick introduction what is IFA Now. So IFA Now is a tech platform which have been giving to mutual fund distributors, RIAs, wealth managers, and handling everything like from transactions to report generation, handling all this CRM where they were cash flows in financial planning can be done through that. Portfolio analytics was a very good tool into this. So there were multiple things which IFNOW is doing. Now, recently we have seen from some time back to as we have a group of IFAs and RIAs. Our co-founder is he himself is a practicing RIA. So we have seen through our research that many wealth managers who try to go into different products apart from mutual funds, they have got into issues like there were multiple issues like there were multiple impairments they need to do. They have to go through different manufacturers for different impairments. Multiple RMs would be assigned accordingly for every manufacturer. They have to run around between queries and those things. So there were too much of operations and that much work going on. So to cut down on hassle, we have introduced IFNOW Growth Plus. So what is IFNOW Growth Plus? These are the problems. First, I'll speak about the problems what IFAs were facing. Fragmented product ecosystem. Fragmented product ecosystem that itself it is broken. People were not knowing, IFAs were not knowing about different products. There are multiple products into the market where they can earn beside, and also they can inform the customers. The customers also get good returns into that. There were multiple investment products out there in the market which were not accessible, as I would say, to the common man, let's say. But now they would be accessible. They are accessible through IFNOW Growth Plus. Lack of single relationship management, that was very much issue because let's say you have tied up for different products with different manufacturers, you would be getting different RMs. So you have to run around between them for each and every query. There is no single point of contact for that. Second, third, lack of product expertise and training gaps. There were lack of product expertise and training gaps found between the IFA community for these products. So, like YouTube videos are there online, you can search, but still you will not get so much of information. So that was one issue which we saw. Difficulty was there in upselling and cross selling. You cannot connect two products uh, because one manufacturer will say his product is good, second manufacturer will say that product is good but for investment. So that was the issue which we saw. Lack of marketing and sales support is the major issue which we saw between IFAs. And complicated and delayed payout process is one of the major issues also which we saw. So to handle all these, we introduced IFNOW Growth Plus. So IFNOW Growth Plus is a IFA first platform which will say for tech powered and human driven multi-product distribution. We have done three things into this majorly. One, curated product basket. We have curated the manufacturers to you. So basically, what will happen in India? There are multiple manufacturers, and they would be providing multiple, things. But we don't want our IFAs to go through all the manufacturers. The best of the best manufacturers in the country for each and every product, we have brought to you through Growth Plus. Direct manufacturer tie-up. So the margins you would be getting directly from the manufacturer, the same margin you will be getting through us itself. We are not going to deduct anything from that, so that you can work easily. Product expansion support will be given to you, product trainings. So, everything will be given to you, and end-to-end support, sales coaching for each and every product. Like today's webinar is there on succession planning. We have kept multiple webinars in the past for fixed income products. In the future also, we have planned many webinars for each and every product. So as an IFA community should get more and more information about these products. They can expand their advice, advisory, and dedicated expert relation manager. This is the point where we have, cracked it. You will get a single RM for Growth Plus. He or she will be looking after each and everything against in the Growth Plus. Round the clock support is provided. It will be provided by that RM to you. So and minimum operation hassle. You don't have to. You will be requiring only a one-time empanelment with IFA now for all these products across all the manufacturers. A single contract, centralized payout, and faster commissions you'll be getting. So these are the product line. These are the products which are live currently. I'll not say live on the platform, but yes, through our offline RM assisted journey, it's there completely and it's working fine since so many months. We have seen growth month on month regarding the products and regarding the turnover also. So we are going great in this. Advisors also have felt that they have, when they tie up with IFNR Growth Plus, when they empanel with that, and they have seen that how their RM assists them and they are growing accordingly in these products also. So I'll not take much of your time. I'll introduce our guest today, who is there to explain us what is succession planning. Let me introduce you to Mr. Jugal Popat. Mr. Jugal Popat, he is the co-founder of WillJini. He is an PGDM MBA from SPJIMR Mumbai. He has worked in several companies, reputed companies, I would say, as growth and strategy roles like Swiggy, Uber, Book My Show, Love Lindas. So he has been into this industry of succession planning since so many years. So I'll not take much of your time. IFS, please welcome Mr. Jugal. Mr. Jugal, the stage is all yours.
Thanks, Avinash. Before I begin, just to understand the audience, can I know where everyone is attending from? If you can put it on the chat, it'll be interesting to note. Which city are you logging in from? Which town of the country? So I can maybe, have some relevant examples during my session also. Um, yeah, if you can just type in up chat, maybe डाल सकते हो. Okay, people are raising hands, I see, instead of okay. New Delhi. Okay. Delhi. Okay. Chat is disabled, I think, Avinash. So should people put in
So they
answers?
can they can put in the Q&A
Q&A.
actually.
Okay, guys, you can put it in the Q&A section. Okay, a lot of people from Delhi, I see. Very interesting. Okay. Okay, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, Kerala, Patna. Okay, so we have North, we have South, we have West, Ahmedabad West, and we have Patna in the East. So nice to see such diverse set of professionals joining the call. Avinash, wonderful uh, diaspora here. So I'll quickly, take everyone through the session today. So, folks, today's session is on will writing. If you don't mind, I'll in between switch on some little contextual things on Hindi, if that is fine. If not, please let me know in the chat and I'll avoid doing that. Uh, so, see, as financial planners, all of you know that there is a circle of life that each each individual follows, each client of yours has to follow. Uh, so there it starts with education, then career starts. Everyone has to go through some kind of education or career that they build. Then their savings start. They start building wealth, which is where you come in as a financial planner. You help your clients in investing that money, multiplying that money, diversifying that money with able tools like IFA now has been creating. You help them in all these varied financial planning tools. But the last part is missing. ये जो आखिरी का हिस्सा है वो लोग ध्यान नहीं दे रहे इस पे, जो है सक्सेशन प्लानिंग, which is will writing or succession planning as a whole, which is where our company comes into picture. So WillJini's logo is that the last part of financial planning is where we are saying that succession planning comes into play, which people are missing on thinking about. Many of you would know that in India, unclaimed assets is a very big amount. When I say unclaimed, this is the money that families have lost. They don't know. Father died, children don't know. Grandfather died, grandmother didn't know. And so the information was lost. It, it is lying with the government in form of physical shares. So shares are in IEPF, bank deposits, insurance policies, mutual funds, and the amount is phenomenally high. It's like $30 billion. If you see that, this is significant wealth. I'm sure your clients also own good amount of wealth. You yourself have invested money in multiple financial assets. Ask yourself this question: does your family know about all of these assets? If not, then succession planning is critical for them. Second very important point is lot of litigation going on in India for inheritance related property disputes. You can see that more than 1 crore cases have been ongoing for property matters, and the number of years it goes on for is disappointing. You would know any neighbor, relative, cousin who has gone through this hassle, and you wouldn't wish it on your own family or your client's family. We all think that fights happen only when wealth is involved, if more money is involved. But you'd be surprised to know that majority of these cases are from villages, towns, smaller cities that way, where family only had a small parcel of land or a small house, which means that wealth is relative, right? For some family, that wealth is very relative. So to avoid the family confusion or fights in future, writing a will is a very simple and strong solution. To give you a quick background why I'm taking this session today is WillJini has been doing this for the last 12 years. We just completed our 13th year this month in April. We've helped more than 20,000 clients across 480 cities and 32 countries, NRIs, right? We only and only do succession planning for clients. We've been the official succession planning partner for HDFC Group, Tata Group, ICICI Group, and many more. Okay, now let's move to inheritance laws in India. What happens legally after death? Okay, very important slide. Many people think that what should the process look after the demise of someone? Okay, so there are two things that can happen. If someone has died, they have a will or they don't have a will. Okay, so I'll explain to you one simple flowchart. You can take a screenshot of this if you want, but it's a very important slide. Okay. Uh, so if a will is made, right, then and family is cordial, the process is very smooth. Okay. Very less cases happen in this case because very less number of people make a will. Okay. Uh, then if a will is made and the family disputes that will, okay, then the family needs to obtain the probate from the High Court. For example, right now in India, very famous cases going on is Sanjay Kapoor's case, business tycoon. He had more than 30,000 crores of wealth. He had made a will, but his family is disputed around it. So they need to obtain a probate from the court saying that please validate this will, and then this will be accepted everywhere, right? So this is that process. Now let's look at when there is no will. Okay. Let's say majority of the clients fall under this category. Will is not made. Okay. So when will is not made, but family is cordial. okay, that okay, kids are aligned or there is only one single child or only a spouse, still they have to prove their legal heirship, that they are the legal heir. In different states, the process is different. For example, in Maharashtra, there is succession certificate. In New Delhi, there is survivor member certificate or legal heirship. In Kolkata, also there is succession certificate. In Bangalore, there is SMC. So depending on the state, the family members have to prove to the government that okay, I was the only child or we were three children. Please give this wealth to us. Finally, if will is not made and the family is disputed, the religious laws kick in. Okay. This is very common in India, more than we think. So let me spend some time on this. What happens when someone has not made a will and the succession is a confusion? Okay. So I would like to ask people attending on this session that do you know who the wealth goes to if someone dies without a will in place? For example, let's say if something happens to your client who dies, who will get that money? Who do you think should should get that money from the gov as a law? You can write your answer in the Q&A section down. Okay, someone says nominee gets the money. Legal heirs, okay. If you can elaborate on what is legal heir. So multiple people have written legal heirs. Okay, someone says children. Okay, one person says surviving spouse gets the money. Okay, as per the succession laws of the religion. Okay, let's take an example of Hindu male. Okay, slightly a majority, so I'll go with that right now. What do you think happens? Who gets the money if a Hindu male dies? Okay. Someone says spouse and children. Someone says biological children. Okay. Children and spouse. Okay. Great. Thank you for your answers. I did not find the right answer in any of these. So I'll show you what the right answer is. First of all, religious laws are categorized into three right now in India. Hindu succession law caters to Christian followers. The Indian Succession Act covers Indian Christians, Parsis, or these two religions. And finally, Sharia is covered. Sharia covers Muslim folks in India. Okay, so if someone dies, any of your client, this law takes care of the succession if there is no will. Okay. Now, since we had discussed Hindu succession, many people were trying to attempt to answer. Let's look at the answer. So, as per the Hindu law, when a Hindu male dies, their wealth is divided equally amongst their class 1 legal heirs, which includes mother, wife, and all the children. Okay. So, if I have all these 5 members surviving after my demise, my wealth will be distributed at 20% each of these people, which is 100% then. Clear? If there are no children, only mother and wife, then 50-50, right? So whoever or how many ever are surviving, they get the money equally. This is the biggest misunderstanding that people have in the country. And it is very important that you as financial advisors take this information to your clients. Which is when they realize, अरे हाँ यार ये करना चाहिए, ये मुझे पता ही नहीं था. I want to favor my spouse, or I want to favor this child, or I want to favor my mother, right? So then they can write their will accordingly. Now, what happens when none of these are available? Let's say the person was unmarried, okay, and does not have spouse, children, or mother. Then the money goes to the father, okay. When none of the class 1 legal heirs are available, then father gets the wealth. If father is also not surviving, then the siblings get the wealth. Okay, and finally, if none of class 1 or class 2 legal heirs are alive, then agnates and cognates, which means paternal lineages like father's side relatives, and if they are not there, then mother's side relatives get the wealth. I hope I was able to explain to you what the inheritance law looks like. One very, very critical point here is, for a male and a female, the law is very different. For a female, you will be surprised to know that if a female Hindu dies, her wealth first goes on to, yes, her husband and her children. But if her husband is also dead, for example, husband and wife were going in a car and they died together, they had an accident, then the female's wealth, her investments, her house, or whatever she has earned, goes to her husband's side of family. It goes to her mother-in-law, it goes to her father-in-law, her sister-in-law, bhabhi ji ko paise jayenge. It will go to her brother-in-law. So imagine that kind of law in India is still existing and people don't know about it. The Hindu succession, female especially, is very biased. So we recommend all clients, male or female, please make a will. Okay. Someone has said that if son is passed away, but the grandchild of the expired son is there, then it is, yeah. So that is the if one of the child, the question is, if one of the child has died and their grandchild is available, I mean their children are available, then they get the share. For example, this child had 20% share, then their child gets that 20% share. If there were two children, they get 10% share, right? So that is how it works. But this is a typical distribution that happens. Now let's look at what is a will. Okay. Very simple. We are saying will is a very basic document that any household should have. Every house should have a will. It is a normal document in writing. It is a legal document which has signature of yourself and two witnesses. It contains personal details about yourself, your spouse, parents, children, basically family members, whoever are there in your family. That मुझे कौन है, कहाँ रहते हैं, क्या करते हैं, so just basic information. Asset details, okay? Very important to note that we do not need to mention the value of any of the assets. If you have investments worth 1 crore, 10 crore, 100 crore, you only have to mention where is this invested. For example, this is invested in ICICI Securities Demat account this. It is invested in Zerodha account number this. It is invested in a PMS account number this. You do not have to mention value of any of the asset, even the house for that matter. You only have to mention this is my house. It is in Indore and the address is this, right? Finally, you mention your distribution wish, that in my absence, when I die, how should this asset be distributed, right? That is the only way in which a will is made. And it's very basic. We say that it can be made very quickly. Now I'll move on to some myths and misconceptions, very common myths and misconceptions that people have. I'm sure a lot of you on this call also have these misconceptions. I will do it after my retirement, which is the biggest argument that any client has. Because will in everyone's mind is, ये मैं जब बूढ़ा हो जाऊंगा, जब मैं when I'm on my deathbed, I'm about to die, मैं तब करूंगा. So media, movies, ads, they've shown this negative connotation that will is made when you're about to die. But I ask this question, since you are all financial planners, that you've been telling your clients to have an insurance policy, right? Insurance means what? That if you die in an untimely manner, life is unpredictable, then your family should be taken care of, right? Like I bought my life insurance at the age of 22 years, my first life insurance policy. I'm sure a lot of you also bought your life insurances much sooner in life. Then the same logic applies to the will also. Like I have my will. Why? Because I have investments made. Now people say that if I have made nomination on my investment, then why should I write a will? Nominee. Biggest another misconception people have is nominee is the owner of my assets. See, nominee is not the owner. Nominee is a caretaker of your assets. For example, if I have put my mother as a nominee, okay? I got married now, I have a wife. If something happens to me, my mother will receive the investments from the SEBI, from RBI, or from the banks, right? But she is not the owner. She has to distribute that money to my legal heirs, which means my wife is also my legal heir if a will is not made. So my wife can claim her share of 50% from my wealth. Nominee's duty, legal duty, is to distribute the wealth amongst all the legal heirs. please, in case you don't know about this, educate your clients also, because they feel that मैंने nomination किया हुआ है, I do not need a will. Uh, Another point people have is I have bought assets in joint name. I'm sure इस कॉल पे काफी लोग हैं जिन्होंने अपने घर को वाइफ के साथ joint name पे लिया हुआ है, right? They hold it in joint name. They also hold bank accounts in joint name. They say that my wife will inherit. See, that is not how the law works. अगर मैंने मेरी वाइफ के साथ बैंक अकाउंट लिया हुआ है and something happens to me, my 50% of the share is distributed amongst my legal heirs. Her 50% share remains with her. Even if it's a house, it automatically does not go to the surviving member, because my 50% asset legally has to be distributed amongst my children, mother, or wife. Going by the example, I'm a Hindu male, right? If I make a will, then I can decide who it goes to. So, very important that if husband and wife want to make a will, in fact, we tell them to make a joint will. Make both your wishes on a single piece of paper. I'll come to that, what it is like and how it works. But it is very common that in India, people have joint assets. People say, I don't have a lot of money and I have only one daughter. Again, very common situation in families these days. मेरी एक ही बेटी है, and or I feel that okay, I'm a middle class person. See, first of all, wealth is relative. मेरे पास 50 लाख का घर है, मैं रह रहा हूँ एक टाउन में. फॉर माई फैमिली दैट 50 लाख मैटर्स अ लॉट वर्सेस someone else living in a 10 crore house. For them that 10 crore matters a lot. So wealth is subjective and relative. So you should not compare what is high wealth to make a will. We say if you have a house, you should have a will. Secondly, let's assume you have a daughter, only daughter, and she is going to get anything by default. But the process for her to inherit will be significantly easier if you put it on a will. First of all, she will not have to go hunting for all the assets. You saw the list of unclaimed assets, right? The first slide that I showed you. How will that daughter, let's say she's sitting in some other city or some other country, she's an NRI sitting in Canada, will she know which FDs you invested in, which mutual funds you bought, or which FD you own in which bank branch in remote India? She will not know, she will not care at one point. Okay, so for your assets to get lost like this, it's easier to make a will, write down, okay, I have these 12 assets, if anything happens to me, give it to my daughter. So her inheritance process becomes easy also. Very critical for smaller nuclear families also. Then families feel that my financial advisor knows everything and he will take care, or CA also. The thing is, I'm sure a lot of you here know 100% of your client's wealth, but there are some clients in which you don't know 100% of their wealth, right? Because people invest money on themselves also. They've bought some gold, they have some cash, they have some parcel of land which they've also not kept proper records of. There are several asset classes that people have gathered over 30 years of their life, 40 years of their life. It is difficult for you as a financial advisor to know everything, and they are relying on you ki baba, Sanjay will take care of my wealth, or Jose will take care of my wealth, or Avinash will take care of my wealth when I die. But imagine that responsibility is on your shoulder, which is why we are saying that having this one document in place for them relieves you of that stress, that okay, if anything happens, then I've done their part, the family will be safe and secure, their assets are safe and secure, right? So it's a protective tool that you'll be able to do with this. People feel that I have to submit a lot of documents and I don't have a time. See, today you can make a will in 30 minutes time. Like with WillJini, we are making clients wills in 30 minutes time. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't want to visit anyone, right? A will made in plain paper, sitting at home, okay, signed in front of two witnesses, is a legally valid will. I don't need to have any stamp duty, registration, court visit, or any legal paper, nothing. I can do it on a plain A4 paper and it is legally valid. We are saying the basic step of writing a will should be simple for the clients, and we enable that, right? Finally, people feel that I can get it done via when they agree with all the other things, they bring the cost factor. Yeah, I will make it for cheap. Why should I choose a professional? So we say that, see, writing a will today will not give you any challenges because it's a document that comes in action after death. After you die, if that will is not written properly, if there are shortcuts in that will, because see what happens is local professionals, this is not their main job. They are doing 100 different things. We only make wills. So other local professionals tend to take normal templates, copy paste data in 2 3 page will and give it, get the job done. It is not their main job. We understand where the problems arise, and which is why we say if you have wealth of more than 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore, why cut corners and save 2 3 thousand rupees there? Get it done properly, right? So that is where we say that this is our pricing, right? So this is after which I'll take some questions on wills also. See, we have an online will writing process. Anyone can log in, enter the details asked on the software, and you can get your will generated, which is 7,499. We have a lawyer drafted will, which in which the lawyer shares a questionnaire. We have in-house lawyers, by the way. We have 18 lawyers in-house in WillJini working for us. They send the questionnaire to the client, they can talk, have meetings, which is 15,000. Joint will, which I mentioned, where husband and wife both make a single will for their wishes, that is a joint will. And finally, in some cities we also offer doorstep wills where we have offices. So we have offices in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, now in Pune, coming to Ahmedabad, Hyderabad also. But typically this is a slightly more costly service, doorstep wills. But this is what majority clients opt for, customized or joint will, right? We also get the will registered anywhere in India. See, registration as a process, I'll explain to people who don't know. People have heard अच्छा नोटरी करानी पड़ती है, रजिस्ट्रेशन कराना पड़ता है, उसका डिफरेंस क्या है? I'll explain you the difference, okay? See, registration means that you are taking the will to the sub registrar office nearest your home, wherever you register your property documents, and the registrar witnesses that you've signed the will. They click your photograph, they take your thumbprint, which means the government registrar has seen you make the will, which further authenticates or strengthens your will. It is not mandatory, but we recommend people to register their will. Some people say that I can do notary. See, notary means that some local lawyer or some gazetted officer is notarizing the will. Notary does not hold a lot of value in India. Sanjay Kapoor's case right now going on in court, it was a notarized will as per reports. Why it is being openly challenged? Because notary does not have any authenticity as much. Versus if you register it, it's good. So we suggest when the wealth is very high, or if you feel that family might fight, we suggest that get registration also done. It's a one-time exercise anyways, and we get it done anywhere in the country. So that is how the process looks like. Uh, this is the process of the will. We do a consultation call for your clients. We take the payment. We share the questionnaire. This is for the lawyer drafted will, okay? Then we create a WhatsApp group with you, your client, and our lawyer. The client, once they fill up the questionnaire, we start drafting, and the final draft is shared. Typically, in 2 weeks' time, this process is completed because clients take some time to fill out that data. Our team is very quick in drafting, but this is how the typical engagement looks like. Now I'll take a pause to take up some questions. Avinash, is that fine if we take some questions before we end?
Yes, yes, that's fine. That's fine, Jugal. So
Okay,
there are few questions in the Q&A. If we can address
sure.
to those.
I'll take it up. Sure. So, someone has asked in case of class one, if mother is not there, 25% each to the rest four. That's right. Based on the example that we took up. Yes, if there are four surviving members in class one legal heirs, 25% goes to each. Uh, I did not get your question, Jignesh. If you can retype what you wanted to ask. What happens to assets acquired after the will is made? Very good question, Kajal, Kiran. कि आज मैंने अपनी विल बनाई है, टुडे इज द 30th और सॉरी 2nd of May, एंड आई डाई after 2 years. Okay, within those 2 years, if I bought a house, who will that go to? If I've made some investments, who will that go to? So when we make a will as professional, we add a future assets clause also, which means that any asset bought what the clause says is any asset bought after today's date, which is a signing date, will go to X person. That X person is, let's say, my spouse or my child. So I have covered all future investments and assets also, right? Um, Rajiv asks, where should one keep the will? Good question. Where to keep the custody of the original will? See, if you feel that the family is, uh, you're making a will just for safe succession, right? You don't feel there are any fights going to be there in the family. You keep it in your cupboard in your house. Keep it accessible. Don't hide it. Keep it accessible with your insurance policies, with other property documents, so that when family is going through it, they find the will also. If you feel that there can be fights in the family, you can keep the original will with the executor, like, or one of the witnesses of your will. For example, there are two witnesses, right? If your friend is a witness, you can keep the original with them. WillJini also acts as a professional custodian of the will. If someone wants to keep it with us, we also keep it, right? um, Shruti asks that if there are certain changes in the investments, some are sold, some are bought, do I need to keep changing the will? So, like I answered Shruti in the previous question also, future assets clause covers any future purchases. Whereas if I sell anything from my assets, if I had 10 assets and I have only 8 left when I die, that's fine. Only the 8 that are actually existing will be distributed amongst the family. I don't need to make a new will for every asset change that you have. A new will is ideally suggested only when you have changes in your family members or your wishes towards those family members, which typically in every 3 to 5 years' time we recommend clients to review. Um, how to know if a person who is deceased has a registered will or not? Mohit asks that. So, see, Mohit, typically, if a will is registered, the copy will be there with the registrar's office. And a will is usually registered at the nearest Aadhaar card address of the person deceased. So we can check with the city, that city's registrar offices. If there's something active going on, we can help you out with you. But if it was not a registered will, nobody will have a copy, right? So in that reason, also a registered will is good. Amit asks, please explain Jain law. So, like I said, Amit, Jain succession laws fall under the Hindu Succession Act. So, it's the same bracket as the Hindu succession law. Um, uh, Someone asks, can we have a addendum, which is an additional paper to the will, if we don't want to generalize all future assets clubbed together? Yeah, I mean, some people do that. It's called a codicil. That attachment is called a codicil. Uh, we can help you with that also. Kajal asks, can the will bypass the provision of the Hindu succession law? Absolutely. The reason why a will is made is it can circumvent all personal and religious laws. So all I can give everything I own to, let's say, my brother, nothing to my wife, to my children, to my mother. I can give everything to my brother via will. That is allowed. I can also give everything that I own to my friend if I don't want to give it to my family. So that is the freedom that a will provides. However, in Sharia law, there are restrictions. So if you have Muslim clients or people who follow Muslim religion, they are not allowed to write their entire estate on a will. So for Muslims, we recommend making trusts, which is our next section. And Maxi asks, are you going to speak about trusts? Yeah, the next section is trusts. Uh, and someone in the middle has asked, will we share the deck? Avinash, will we be sharing the deck of this session?
Yes, yes, we'll be sharing the same.
Okay, okay, great. So I'll go forward. Avinash, how much time do we have? So I'll pace it accordingly.
We have ample time. There is no issues.
Okay, I'll take not more than 20 minutes because I understand that the subject can get a little heavy for people. पहली बार ऐसा कुछ सुन रहे हैं, attend कर रहे हैं. So I don't want to make it very boring for people. Typically, when we take these sessions, we have one session only on wills, which is for 45 minutes. We take one session only on trusts, one session only on NRIs and business owners. But I've tried to club a few of them within this one session, right? So let's go on to trusts. What is a private family trust? See, we've heard the word of trust. We've heard Tata Trust, Reliance Trust, Temple Trust, School Trust, Hospital Trust, right? What we are talking about here right now is a private family trust. It is not a charitable trust. It is not for charity. It is made for the management of your own wealth, like an HUF. I'm sure a lot of you know what a Hindu undivided family HUF is. Any Hindu can create an HUF. Similarly, any Indian citizen, anyone, any religion, even Muslims for that matter, Christians, Parsis, Hindus, they can create a private family trust for the purpose. For example, let's say there is a grandmother and grandfather or a couple. They are creating a trust. They are putting in their wealth. Now, this trust is like a legal entity that they are creating, like a private limited company or an HUF. So it has its own PAN card, it has its own bank account, it has its own identity. So it can, let's say, my name is Jugal Popat. Let's call this trust as Jugal Popat Private Family Trust. I'm creating this for the benefit of my children, my brother, sister, for example, my spouse, whoever in my family. I can only include my family members in a private family trust. Okay. Now, person making the trust is called a settler because I'm settling in money into the trust. People receiving benefits out of the trust are called beneficiaries. You would have heard the term trustees also. So, trustee is someone who manages the trust based on the trust deed. So, simply put, when I'm making this trust, Jugal Popat Private Family Trust, I'm writing down rules that, okay, after I die, how will the wealth in this trust be managed? I say that, okay, after my death, every year give my children 50 lakh rupees. I say that after I die, my children's education use this much money. Uh, I can set rules however I want. And the trustees are basically managers of the trust. I can keep anyone as a trustee. I can keep my children as trustees. I can keep my wife as a trustee, or I can keep a professional trustee. Like, let's say, WillJini is a professional trustee, or I can keep a chartered accountant as a trustee. Whoever my friend can be a trustee. Trustee is a manager. They don't have any benefit. They will only follow what rules you've written on the trust deed. They'll execute it in your absence. Simply put, to summarize, a trust is a separate legal entity. Okay, it has its own PAN card, own bank account, and legal status. It is created to take care of your family's needs, finances in your absence. You can set up the rules for staggered inheritance. Sometimes people say, यार मेरे पास पैसा ज्यादा है, I have 20 crores rupees. I don't want to give my children that wealth all of a sudden. They might misuse it or they can be misled. So people create trust saying, okay, this money is for you only, but you cannot withdraw all of it at once. You can withdraw it as per the rules that I have written. So via trust, you can control the wealth even after you are dead. As simple as that. Who should create a trust? Uh, First of all, HNIs and affluent families are creating trusts a lot these days. Earlier, only the Tatas, Birlas, Ambanis were doing it. But now this knowledge has passed on to even the common families with more than 10 crores of wealth, and they are making trusts to protect their money. Second, business owners. See, business succession, which I'll take up in one of the slides in the ahead, is a very complicated way of complicated challenge that families have. Ki if I have a business partnership, sole proprietor, or private limited company, it has a factory, how will the money go to the family? So, trust is a very good solution for them. Many families have special needs children. I don't know if on this call there are distributors whose clients have a special need child, but if you do, a trust is a very good solution for them because in a will, you are leaving everything to, let's say, that child's name, but a guardian will control that money. Guardian can misuse it. But if you make a trust, people are bound by law to only use it for the purpose specified in that trust, right? So we've made more than 50 trusts for special needs children. Another common use case which is happening is आजकल आपको पता होगा झगड़े हो रहे हैं फैमिलीज में आफ्टर मैरिज राइट शादियां टूट रही है देयर आर डिवोर्सेस हैपनिंग many people are protecting their wealth from matrimonial disputes by creating a trust. So today if I have created a trust and parked my wealth into the trust, let's say 3 years later I have a matrimonial dispute and there are some claims in alimony, that wealth won't be considered in the alimony because it is not my wealth, it is the trust's wealth. That is what the law says, and that is how some people are protecting their money from future troubles. uh, creditors, to ring fence money from creditors. If I've taken a lot of personal loans, uh, creating a trust makes a wise decision to protect my wealth, business, personal wealth from business problems. For doing philanthropy, charity, NRIs. I'm sure a lot of you on call have NRI children, NRI clients. Now what happens is NRIs को भी एक उसका एक I have another deck altogether, but simply put, NRIs have to come to India again and again for inheritance problems. They have to do paperwork, sign, go to court, etc., etc., and they have to declare their inheritance in their respective countries, UK, US, Dubai, wherever. Versus if their parents have created a trust in India and their children are beneficiaries. So even after the person dies, their father or mother dies, the trust is holding the asset and the NRI children can enjoy the benefits of it without doing anything. They are the beneficiaries, right? Finally, Muslim religion followers. So like I mentioned, in India, Muslims cannot write a will for all of their estate. So they are opting for a trust which circumvents Sharia law. Now people would be thinking on call here कि यार will और trust में difference क्या है? So I've tried distinguishing both of them in 4 simple points. A will is a basic succession plan. It is a single piece of paper of your wishes, versus a trust is a entity that I'm creating, a new structure I'm creating to hold my assets. Like right now it is in Jugal's name. Now it will be in Jugal Popat's private family trust's name. Okay. Next is, like I said, okay, same point it covers. A trust cannot be challenged in court. Very important point. Today, even a will, no matter if it is registered, if a family member wants to bring trouble, do fights, they'll go to the court and challenge that, okay, there is another version of will that I have, whatever. When we feel that money is higher, or the cases that we just discussed, we suggest that you make a private family trust because it cannot be challenged in court. It is a very safe and secure form of succession. A will can be done in as simple as 30 minutes or 3 days. A trust is a more involved process. It takes around 2 to 3 weeks time, and the process to create that entity. In will, all the wealth is inherited together. If I have 5 crores, मेरा 5 crores मेरे wife, mother, बच्चों में एक साथ after my demise will be transferred. But if I want the money to go to them after they are little more older, more mature, then I can use a trust to give them staggered inheritance. थोड़ा थोड़ा करके अगर मैं देना चाहता हूँ, then trust is a good solution for my family. We'll go through some benefits very quickly of a trust. That 100% wishes are fulfilled. Okay, when I make a trust, hassle-free inheritance, no probate needed, no going to courts, nothing. Uh, After my demise, very next day, my family will have access to my funds and they can use it. It helps in protecting the assets from creditors or matrimonial disputes. Business succession is very smooth in case of a family trust. You can give staggered inheritance, and it is very NRI friendly solution. The cost of making a private family trust, we typically charge 1.5 lakh rupees per trust. Sometimes families need not one but multiple trusts. कुछ कुछ families में multiple trusts की जरूरत पड़ती है. I'll explain with an example. So in that case, it's called a comprehensive estate planning process. So if there are 3 trusts, you can do the math, and that is how it works. And yeah, these are the packages that we have. I have 2 very simple examples that I wanted to show you uh, before we take up some questions from people. Let's assume there is an HNI family. Okay, they have 100 rupees. They are creating a private family trust in which they pour in their assets like mutual funds, FDs, gold, bank balance. So 70 rupees they've put into a trust. 30 rupees, which is their, let's say, the value of their land, their property, etc., they are writing in the will that if anything happens to me, then give it to my children. And in the trust, they are keeping their children only as a trustee. So what typically is happening, that this money is cannot be fought upon, family cannot fight. this money is accessible to the family the very next day after the demise of the person. This will flow slowly, uh, but you're basically, segregating and giving your family that comfort, right? Also, for the fact that if land or property is transferred into the trust, it incurs a stamp duty. So with this process, you are avoiding stamp duty also. Like in Maharashtra, it is 4%, right? So I'm avoiding that 4% stamp duty by writing my assets into a will, property into the will. Okay. However, just to point out, I can buy assets in the trust. So I can buy a new property on the trust, I can buy new land on the trust's name, all that is fine. But if I transfer my house into the trust's name, I'll incur the stamp duty as per the state laws. So this is a safer solution. Another example is of a businessman where, let's say, the businessman has 100 rupees. Their wealth is divided into personal wealth and business wealth, right? So we suggest them to make two separate trusts. One is for their business assets. So let's say 60 rupees worth of their net worth is in business. So it company shares, factory, business assets go into this trust, whereas their personal assets go into personal trust and property into the will. And that is how the money flows to the same family members. We are just structuring it so that this business, whose worth is so much more, does not get fought upon. It is managed very differently than my personal wealth, right? I don't want that I've spent so many years creating a garden, and after my death someone cuts the tree, which is my business. I want the families to enjoy the fruits of my business, not cut the tree, right? So this plan is very suitable for the family. uh, yeah, and finally, we help families in inheritance. So this is the last slide. So if someone has already passed away in your clients and they need help in succession of the assets, the children are abroad or they are somehow not able to do things, or you want to help them out. So all India, we help in inheritance matters, end to end manner. That is how we work, right? Uh, Great. Thanks. And just to wrap up, see, I'm sure that there is commercials involved in this. Avinash will be able to share that in detail with you. So we share commercials with you on all the pricing that we have. The exact numbers will be shared by Avinash with you. But besides the monetary benefit that you have by distributing a service like this, the biggest benefit is you get closer to your clients. आज आपके clients आपके साथ बात कर रहे इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के बारे में, बट द मोमेंट यू टेक दिस सर्विस टू देम, दे स्टार्ट टॉकिंग, अच्छा हाँ यार, अविनाश मेरा ये प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है, दिस प्रॉब्लम गोइंग ऑन फॉर दैट लैंड, और माय चाइल्ड हैज सम दिस मैट्रिमोनियल डिस्प्यूट गोइंग ऑन. They open up about their problems to you. See, in the end, you are looking to build a good relationship with all your clients, and this is that value added service. Don't look at this like a money making scheme for you. It is a value added service because of which you'll be able to bring in next generation also in your portfolio. आज आप उनके बच्चों के साथ connected नहीं है, but when you do their estate planning, kids also get involved. They look up to you कि अच्छा हाँ, this sir knows everything, he's helping our family. So that way you are becoming a 360-degree advisor to the family, and you are becoming very strong in their eyes. uh, I think, yeah, that's my word. Avinash, thank you, and I can take up some questions since I've wrapped up on
Yes. So,
trusts.
so first we'll be taking up the questions which are in the chat box with question answer, and then if people feel they can raise their hands, and we'll allow them to speak, and they can ask directly with Jugal the question.
Okay. So I'll take up questions one by one. Mr. Rakesh asks, can the will be challenged by anyone in any case? See, typically a will can only be challenged by the legal heirs of the family. In our case, let's say the wife, the mother, and the children. But if someone else says that, "Acha, I have another copy of a will which was made after your will, or I have another version of a will," that person can be anyone. But that is why typically we say that you register the will also, if possible, if you feel that there is some contention in your larger family that way, right? Can we make only to a minor? I'm assuming that this is for a will. So yes, Santosh, you can give everything that you want to give in your wealth to your minor, but you have to appoint a guardian. So when we make a will, we ask the person to appoint a guardian that who will take care of the financial decisions of a minor until they turn 18 years of age. Okay. Um, Shruti asks, if someone makes a fake will with compromised witness, what can be done? See, Shruti, um, it's like driving on the road. I'll take this example of making a will like driving on the road. You can get into an accident, but you have to ensure that you use all protection while driving as much as possible. So you'll wear a helmet if you're riding a bike, you'll wear your seat belt, you'll have airbags in your car, which is like registering a will also parallelly. But you cannot say मैं गाड़ी नहीं चलाऊंगा या चलाऊंगी. So you have to drive, you have to pass on your wealth to your family. How you want to do it? The more safer tools are making a will, making a registered will, making a trust, or gifting your assets while you're living to your family. Right? These are some tools that are available. Problem makers, 5% problem makers will remain in the society who want to give problem to the family. So it is the job of the client or the financial advisor to guide the family ki baba, for your family this is the most ideal tool. Kajal asks, what about giving assets away to non-family members, like say charity? So, good question, Kajal. So, what happens? We've seen this typically. If a client has given 20% of their wealth to charity, okay, most of the time their family members do not honor that wish. Right? They say, "Acha, charity ko kya hi pata chalega? Why should we tell the charity?" And charity is not going to come and fight any which ways, right? In such cases, when a family has the wish to give a lot to charity, we suggest that the executor of the will should be a professional person, someone you rely. It can be you as a financial advisor, it can be us as a professional executor. WillJini does that, so that family is not in charge of distribution. The distribution responsibility is only with the executor, and they'll distribute it to charity, children, mother, father, whoever is written, and get the job done. um, can the will, next question is, can the will trust be enforced even if there is no death of the settler? I did not understand that. If you can just rephrase the question in a better manner, I'll take this up next. Sumit asks, if a person transfers financial assets to the trust, then what is the impact of stamp duty? Great question, Sumit. There is no financial impact at all. Let's say if I have 50 crores worth of mutual funds or shares, if I transfer it into the trust, there is no charges at all. I can transfer it for free because I'm gifting those assets to my own family members in a way, which is a trust. And there is no stamp duty on financial assets in India as of date. Mohit asks, can we transfer property to a trust through the will without paying stamp duty? That's a beautiful point, Mohit. I missed out on saying that. Many of the clients do that. So what Mohit asks that, okay, I had created a, so I'll show the slide. So Mohit asks that if I put my assets into the trust here instead of the individual's name, from the will, I transfer it to the trust. Is that fine? And will there be any stamp duty? There will be no stamp duty. Why? Because at my death, the the transfer is happening because of inheritance and not a sale or a gift, right? And inheritance in India today is not taxed. So when I die, I can transfer my assets from a will into the trust, and that is how the family can enjoy that money without paying any stamp duty also. um Somil asks, how can we handle cross-border taxation? So, Somil, we help NRI clients for their assets in US, UAE, Malaysia, Singapore, UK, a lot of countries. We have our associates in those countries also. So, we help clients in doing their estate planning for that country and India together along with the taxation. So, if you have any specific queries or clients, you can reach out to us. I'm sure Avinash can guide you to us, or either ways. There'll be some process for that. Sumit asks whether WillJini will be available on IFA Now platform and what is the referral fee from WillJini. Avinash, do you want to take this up?
Yes, Mr. Sumit, we can take it offline. So my business development team will connect you in the next week, and we can take it offline.
Right. So are we live on the platform yet, or are we yet to go live?
So all the services under our Growth Plus section are currently offline through our RM assisted journey. So if Mr. Sumit is empaneled already, he must be having a Growth Plus RM or IFA now. and he or she will help you out regarding all the process, all the products.
Okay, okay. Um, Rashmi asks, can the other legal heirs contest after the demise of the parents, especially daughters, though the will maker has mentioned clearly about no authority on the daughters? See, if a will is made the will is proved to be a valid will, uh, whoever that person has gifted those assets to will get the wealth. Other people cannot challenge that. Why did I not get the money? Because the person who owns the money has the right to give it to whoever they want. It can be within their family, outside the country. It is their right who they want to pass on their wealth to. Family members cannot challenge the will that mujhe kyun nahi mila. So there is no legal standing on that. They can challenge the fact that the will is wrong. I mean, it was forged when made. The person was not medically fit or have another version of a will. But they cannot challenge the fact that why I did not get the money, right? Um, Mohit asks, is video will suggested in addition to paper will? No, Mohit, we don't suggest to have a video will. What we typically tell clients that if you feel that there might be some confusion in family in the future, when you're signing the will, just take a photograph of you and the witnesses and just keep it alongside the will. It is not compulsory, but if you do, then it's good. That okay, in the future, family cannot contest that this person was forced or this person was not in his sound mind, etc. Davalas, should NRI make two wills, one in India and other in overseas locations? Absolutely. So Dhaval, we recommend all NRI clients to have two separate estate plans, one for their home country, let's say UK, and one for their parent country, which is India, because laws in both countries are different. If I make one single will and write all my assets, global estate tax and the movement of assets takes 3-4 years also. So two parallel processes can run if I make two separate wills. Santosh asks, if can the executor work in bad faith? How to ensure correct action? See, Santosh, executor does not have any beneficiary benefits. I mean, they cannot take the assets on their own name. But if the beneficiaries of the family feel that the executor is not acting properly, they can apply to the government and get the executor removed also. So the all the powers vest in the hands of the beneficiary if they feel there is some foul play happening. Kajal asks, what about a surviving pet? Can something be done to protect the pet's well-being from the assets one leaves behind? Can a pet be included in the will? Absolutely. Kajal, when we make a will, there are almost 30 asset classes that we ask a family, including digital assets, crypto, social media. Pets is one of them because in India, pet is considered as a property, okay, not a living being, not a legal individual for that matter. So I can pass on my wealth to pass on my pet to a person. For example, Ratan Tata, when he passed away, he wrote that I want to give away my pet. I think Tito was his dog's name, to his caretaker, something like that. So absolutely, pets can be written there. Uh, Aditya Bhardwaj asks, what about real estate stamp duty? Aditya, if you're asking this in regards to a will, there is no stamp duty for any kind of asset. But if you're putting your assets into a trust, then real estate stamp duty is applicable. Santosh asks, can trusts be a tax optimization mechanism? No, Santosh. Trust is a tax neutral tool. It is very neutral that way. You will not pay higher tax. You will not save a lot of tax. It is very neutral. Whatever tax applies to you as an individual will apply to the trust. Whatever tax bracket applied to your beneficiary will apply to the trust after you are gone. So trust is a succession mechanism, not a tax saving mechanism or protection mechanism for that matter. Mihin asks, is there any capital gain tax when you transfer trust assets to the trust? Good point. No. If I bought a let's say a mutual fund into year 2000 and today I'm transferring it to the trust, then it gets transferred without any capital gains. Now the trust will have the date of acquisition as 2000, year 2000. So when the trust sells those assets, it will pay capital gains. Are there any compliance costs to maintain the trust? See, there are no compliance costs. You only have to pay taxes. So, like the previous question said, that if there are any capital gains, etc. So, just say आप अपने tax file करते हो, a trust also files its taxes annually. So if there is no income, the trust will file zero income. If trust has done some profits, then it will file for taxes accordingly. So that's the only compliance that has to be done in a private family trust. If the trust is doing business, then that's a separate thing. But if there's a personal trust, then nothing is needed. Sumit asks, who takes care of administration of the trust, like investing in mutual funds or redemption or any other documentation post formation? Sumit, what we typically suggest clients is, as long as the client is alive, we suggest client should only be the trustee. Okay. So client can take care of all the investment, everything. They can decide to cancel the trust, take back the money, or put in more money, where to put that money, everything that they can decide. But after they are gone, they can appoint a trustee for financial matters. For example, they say that, okay, Sumit is my financial trustee. He will take decisions on investments. He can put, let's say, your own mutual fund company. Let's say your company's name is Wise Financial Services. So they can mention Wise Financial Services as a trustee, that all investments will be taken care by them. Okay. Ritesh asks, which law is applicable to non-believers or atheists? Um, Ritesh, see, when making a will, you don't have to conform to any law. You can write a will despite that. However, for Muslims, that is slightly tricky, even if someone feels that they don't want to follow that faith. But in India, you are given a faith by birth, right? So if you're born into a religion, your succession laws are derived by your birth, right? Or trust helps you navigate that properly. Rashmi asks, to what extent tax does not imply on the gift deed? So, Rashmi, in India, if you are gifting your asset to your family member, there is a stamp duty depending on the relationship. So, the government has different tax slabs. So, mother to son, father to son, brother to brother, different relationships have different stamp duties, which can be taken care of. If you let us know the state and what kind of asset it is, we can help you out. Uh, I think, okay, we've answered questions. Oh,
Yes,
good.
so
We
we
have
have
a
answered the questions. I can see one raised hand in the attendees, Mr. Saurav Ahuja. So you can unmute yourself, Mr. Saurav, and you can ask your question directly with Mr.
I think you may have raised it in the very early part of the section.
Yes, Mr. Saurav, you are there on the call. You can ask your question. You can unmute yourself. So anybody else also have their questions, they can raise their hand and we'll be allowing them to speak directly with Mr. Jugal.
Um, Meanwhile, Avinash, if you can just quickly share with them the process if they want to, get started on their own will or their client's will, how should they reach out to your team that way? And
Yeah,
how can we get?
so let's say if you are a existing IFA of IFA now, existing user of IFA now, you can directly call your support RM of IFA now, or if you have empanelment IFA now Growth Plus vertical, you can call your IFA now Growth Plus RM, and they will help you out regarding the process of starting with the will. Or let's say if you have any questions, we can help you connect with the WillJini team also in that manner. There is no issues in those cases. If you're a new user to IFA now, you'll be receiving a call in the next week by my business development team. They will help you out how to sign up on IFA now platform and how to go ahead with all those things.
Great, I think.
So I believe all the questions have been answered. Okay, Mr. Saurabh, you have raised your hand. You can unmute yourself and answer ask your question.
I think we can wrap up, Avinash. I think it was
Yes.
erstwhile.
So we have answered all the questions. That was great. We'll be sharing you with the recording also and with the deck which Mr. Jugal just shared. So we'll be sharing you shortly with all those things. You can go through the same also. If you have any questions further, we can again connect in that manner and solve your queries. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Jugal, for taking these webinars today.
Thank you so much, Avinash.
Thank you.